Engage.
And I just came back from CES where artificial intelligence was a big theme. I want to get your general thoughts on AI, whether or not it's something you think is promising or terrifying.
I think it's a bit of both. It's a bit of a double-edged sword. I don't think we know enough, and I don't think we're quite there to be able to say whether it'll be a good thing in the future or whether it'll be the end of us.
Yeah, because it really has to be, we have to ask ourselves, what are we looking for in an AI? Like, are you actually looking for someone to bring you coffee and clean your house?
Servitude, or
right?
Are we looking at actually creating another life form?
Right, yeah, that would be a good question.
I mean, like all technology, it's both promising and terrifying, starting with fire.
It's true. I think, obviously there have been for quite a while the imagined conceits of how technology helps us in Star Trek. And some of those things have been prophetic, which is pretty cool. And I think, as Michael says, along with that, we talk about the double-edged sword of how advancement and progress can also threaten at least some of the values we think are endemic to being human. I think it's very, very tricky to understand. My children have different perceptual models than I do. In part, that is a result of early exposure to different technologies and different kinds of information access. Is that better or worse? Well, it's always going to feel other to me, but probably delightful for them.
I mean, one of our favorite writers is Kurt Vonnegut, and Kurt Vonnegut dealt with this question a lot, and I think what Vonnegut said is really true, which is that it's not technology or science that's evil, or that has the capacity for evil. What's evil is not incorporating into the science that you do, into the technology that you make, sufficient consideration for what the consequences will be to human beings.
Humans make technology, so I believe the technology is not the problem. I think the technological evolution has way surpassed the natural evolution of human brains, and that's a lot of the problem. I don't think, am I concerned about the lack of oversight for a lot of these vast corporations doing crazy experiments with both data, AI, and just general experimentation on human psyche? Yeah, I think we should be pretty worried about that. I mean, when the people empower themselves, we're like, yeah, this is a problem, you should police us. You're like, yeah, we probably should.
Yeah, it's like anything's falling into the wrong hands. I mean, who's controlling it, and that's who's behind it. And of course, there is, it's a natural progression. It's amazing that technology it can be our savior, but at the same time, for sure, it could be our destruction. So there is something to worry about. Yeah.
Want to get your thoughts on AI. Do you find the technology promising, terrifying, somewhere in between?
It's somewhere in between. I think it all depends on how it's used, obviously, and how it's programmed and what the programmers are intending to do with it. It's a blanket. I don't think you can make the blanket statement and say it's just universally bad, but it's certainly dangerous in the wrong hands, or amazing and incredibly helpful in the right ones.
I think I personally yearn for less technology in general. I feel like I yearn for time to be home and be home. I yearn for my kids to not be on a device. I yearn for more book reading. So I don't know if I've thought so much about AI. I think every time we see a movie or we read a book, it's always AI gone bad. So there's that, like where does that end and the other begin?
Well, first of all, I don't understand why people have an artificial intelligence in their home. Alexa, whatever those boxes are called, right?
Right.
Why? They're listening. They can listen to you all the time.
They are listening to you all
and
the
they
time.
are listening to you all the time, right? And it just blows my mind. And I think it's generational, because young people who have grown up with technology just kind of take it in their stride, that this is the way things are. But old farts like me, I'm like, are they demented? They could have the SWAT team knocking on their door in a minute if they're not careful what they say. So I don't understand it. I don't really relate to it just makes life easier. It's like, I don't know. I don't understand this passion that people have to give their lives over to the ether out there.
I think it's amazing to see
exactly what our technology can do and just how far it can go. And I think there are so many ways in which that is amazing and can further our future. I also feel like there's a lot of hesitance to it as well. There's so many sides to it. I don't quite know where I stand on any of that. I don't know, what do you...
Do you use any of those voice command on your phone or in your car?
Yeah, I definitely, I do.
I haven't had the courage yet.
Why?
I get uncomfortable about it. You'd think that because of what I've done,
Talking to your robot in your hand, you don't want to talk to it?
So you're fine with Data, but just talking to Alexa, not so great, right?
I'm fine with Data because I happen to know he is Brent Spiner. And that makes everything all right.
He's a little easier to talk to.